Okay, so you should be able to see this on your screen, and this document will be uploaded on my e-learning. So you will be interviewed on Blackboard by your examiners. So once the schedule is available, that will be provided to students, and that will be forthcoming. You will have 10 minutes to present a summary of your work. So you must have your report. Of course, your report is due the Wednesday the 20, let me get the exact date, the 21st of April, and your interviews are going to be held on Friday, the 23rd of April. So, of course, you have 10 minutes to present a basic summary of your report. By referencing your report, you're not asked or required to do any additional PowerPoint presentation or anything. This is typically the format of the interview. You present basically your report to the examiners that will be examining you. You have about 10 minutes to do that, and then they have about 15 minutes for a discussion with you on your report, referencing your report. So your report is an integral part of the process. Without your report, you cannot be interviewed. So the total time conducted would be no more than 25 minutes per student, right? So I always ask and tell students to please look at the rubric for what you will be examined on for your interview. And of course, you should have been looking at the rubric as well for your report. Those rubrics have been available since the beginning of last semester. In this interview, you will first summarize your work with your aims, objectives, scopes, your assumptions, and your design. You will be required, of course, to share the screen of the report with examiners and to show the relevant parts. The examiners will engage you in dialogue about specific components of your project as you share the screen to aid in the discussion. The interview will be assessing the following 3 items: your ability to present an organized, concise summary of the report to the examiner, the content of the report, and your ability to correctly, confidently, and comprehensively answer questions with clear articulation, because it is an oral interview. You will not be penalized for technical difficulties, right? And both students and examiners will have presenter privileges and will be able to share the screen and the whiteboard during the interview. Penalty. So this is taken directly from your student outline. So this is not new information to you, but you will be, let's know, students without a legitimate excuse, you will encounter some penalties. Just now, give me a second. Something here. Okay. Okay. Penalty. Students will not be allowed to present without a submitted report. Students without a legitimate excuse with the notification of the supervisor and the coordinator will encounter the following penalties. The grade for report submissions made within 3 days after the deadline shall be reduced by 1 level grade. Report shall receive a maximum mark of 50% for submission made after 3 days. Reports submitted 1 week after the deadline shall receive a failing grade, right? So this is the reason why we ask you to continually keep your supervisor informed of any incident that is taking place that will prevent you from completing your work. You have the link there to sign in. You can also sign in via my e-learning. You are asked to sign in at least 10 minutes before the interview And students must have up a profile picture. We must see who we are speaking with. So please, if you do not yet, please put up your profile picture. Upon entering, presenters will be automatically placed in the main room, and the moderator will place the examiners and the students in the required test rooms. Students will be kept in the main room until the examiners indicate the moderator or the student that the test room is empty. So you are not to put yourself into another room unless you are invited by the moderator or the examiner. Because what can happen, a student can be running late or an examiner can be running late, and you put yourself in that room and you're not ready. Okay, so once you log on, you stay logged in, and the moderator will place you in the room, or if you're invited to a room, then you can go ahead. But outside of that, you do not place yourself in a room. So you should have a test session that has been is available on Blackboard for you to go and check to see how everything is working, how to maneuver everything, ensure that your mic is working. Do not wait until the day of the interview to check if your mic is working, if you have screen sharing issues, and you have a browser that is giving trouble. So please check all of that. I know iPads and etc. they tend to use different browsers. So please ensure all of that is working. Do you guys have any questions about anything here? Okay, so this document will be available on my e-learning. Today, as I mentioned, is our final mentor session. Dr. Cooper will not be in attendance today. So for those who are logged on, unfortunately, Dr. Cooper and Miss Young, Adele Young, she had an emergency, so she's also not going to be here. But Adele asked if you can please email her any questions that you may have, and she will be willing to answer you later on in the day. But at the moment, she's taking care of an emergency, so she is unable to attend. So both Dr. Cooper and Adele are not going to be in attendance today. I have not heard anything from the other mentors. I see we actually do have Mr. Kishon Markisu here with us already. Hi, Kishon. So if you guys have no further questions or comments, I'll just go ahead and start putting you guys in the group. Do you guys have any additional questions? I know we do have some. Yes, Andrew.
Hi, Miss.
Hello.
I was wondering, like, the summary, would be able to, like, pre-record that, or, like, everything needs to be live?
No, everything is live. So the reason why we say 10 minutes for a summary is basically you start up the discussion by introducing them to your project and letting them know what you did. So you're not allowed to pre-record it. It's very interactive. That's why we call it an interview, because it's a very interactive examination session.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
So typically students tend to flip through their screens. But usually we are in class and you can flip through together. But since last year, because of the COVID-19 situation, what happened? Lecturers were just asked to flip and to see certain parts and ask certain questions about the project. So make sure your project is your own and you can answer questions about it. For students that I know I don't think they will be logged on, but I'm not sure if you all heard anything, but for students that are currently in St. Vincent or being affected by the volcanic eruption, I'm not going to contact them now because we're still in the middle of the emergency, but I will make contact with them later on because that is a great disruption to everything. So if any student contacts you and they are experiencing that disruption, just please calm them down, let them know to take care of themselves first, and we will deal with this aspect of it, the educational aspect after. But primarily, please let them take care of themselves. Sometimes students tend to put the education above their health, right, and safety. So if anyone contacts you, well, just please let them know to ensure that they are safe and don't worry about it. And we will make the proper accommodation if any of your friends reach out to you. Any additional questions? Yes, there.
Hi, Miss. In terms of who would be present in the interview, is it random or is it dependent on the type of contract or?
So your examiners are going to be selected. Of course, we don't have a lot of examiners for the amount of students that we do have, but we try our best to kind of pair it off. But you would see who your examiners are. I will send out a schedule.
Okay, so it'd be like SIP.
Yeah. So you will have two examiners, a first examiner and a second examiner.
All right.
So each person, yeah. Any other questions? I want to clarify as many things as we can. So, okay, the instructor clear. Jonathan?
Miss, I have a question. It's in our drainage, well, for the people doing drainage, in our drainage contract, one of the things is to do a structural analysis and design of the detention basin. But I was wondering, let's say I wanted to do a detention basin that was not concrete, right? And the detention basin was just like wooden. Then what's, I mean, is that even possible? Or am I confined or bound to do a concrete basin in order to do the structural analysis?
What material you want to use for your basin?
Like sometimes you just
not at this point. Let's start with what material. Did you have a detention basin in your original drawings? In your original plans?
Well,
yes. What material was that?
We didn't do.
You didn't investigate it?
No.
Usually your detention basin is concrete, so it is expected that you would do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so Mr. Kishon, I'm going to put you in a group and students can switch. Of course, you're familiar with Mr. Ramkisoon at this time. He's in drainage, civil and geometric alignment.
Hi guys.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi.
Just give me a couple of minutes. I just have to do something. I'll be right back. Just 2 minutes. Hi, is anyone hearing me?
Yes, sir, we're hearing you now.
Okay, great. Okay, how's everyone doing?
I'm okay.
I think Miss Dr. Smith said your presentation is next week.
Week after, it's right.
Week after. Right, sorry. Okay, well, how are you all getting through? Anyone want to start?
So Jamie asked me to let you know that she's having some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
So
yeah, okay,
yeah.
no problem. Okay, so have we all finished up? We're almost finished. We have a week again, basically. Maybe 2.
Yes, sir. If it is, you mind if I go and just start? Is everyone hearing me? Because I'm
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
difficulties here with it, but okay, great. So I'm still waiting for a response from my supervisor with regards to the detention basin.
Okay.
So I'm assuming she's checking on that for me.
Mhm.
And I've started the bulk of my calculations with regards to the size of the drains and stuff, right? I sent your email, but
Yeah.
I realized that only later on that you probably wouldn't have been able to open it because I did not send the surface file.
The what file, sorry?
With that, the surface file, the separate zip file.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm not. I'll look at it.
Right. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Don't judge me, it's still kind of messy. I have to clean it up.
Sure.
What is that? Right. I'm not sure. Can you all see the screen?
Yeah, I'm seeing it now. Yeah.
Right. So, right. Take off. Right. So, one of my main issues was trying to understand this whole catchment thing in terms of the entire catchment and sub catchments, right? So, you can ignore the little blue lines. This large bit here, which I selected, is the entirety of the large catchment to the pre and post development flow fee. I was asking my
Cortland, sorry.
okay, let's stop.
You keep breaking up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of hard to understand. You're saying that is your main catchment?
Yes, the outline. Just ignore the little piece on the inside. Yeah, the total catchment would be this.
Zoom out. Zoom out for me. Sorry, where did the blue lines go?
The
Yeah,
blue
blue
lines
lines,
here with these. Oh, the rivers, just a second.
Yeah, so how much rivers? Right. But 1 second, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Right, but you're seeing those it has blue lines extending outwards from the it has rivers interacting with your catchment with your site. So
So I just stay within the borders of the I have the surface for. That was that's why.
so you have a bigger surface.
The thing is with the surface and the laptop, it's not working out. This surface here was done by Virginia, because my laptop could not handle the large surface. It just wasn't working. So she just
Okay.
cropped it down to size and just for the area that we were doing. So I'm
Okay,
not
but
sure.
you can't say that's your surface. That's your catchment for your entire site, because there's rivers outside that area, and so therefore your catchment would extend further. And there's a number of rivers, in
Because I-
fact, that
because I did ask my like remember who did Stonewater Park for the feasibility aspect, and she did indicate that it was really small. So I wasn't sure what to make of that.
Hmm. Where's North Coast Road here? Do you have that? Do you have the Fairfield North Coast Road?
Yes.
Yeah, just found that earlier.
So this here would be North Coast
Okay,
Road here.
this right. Okay. Okay, well we have a you're gonna have a major problem. Well, it's kind of late in the game for this. But right now your site has Rincon River running through it.
Yes, that was
Um,
another thing, because even if as I try to reposition, it's going to be a lot of problems. But
mhm.
I remember last week when we were discussing the rivers, there was the option was to either divert or to include it into the drain.
Yeah.
Because of the size, I'm assuming that this here and this river here as well would be two
Mhm.
large rivers. I opted to just divert. Right. It's another question that I'm waiting for to be answered by my supervisor in regards to if it is supposed to actually do back some calculation for that, or if I could just have a section in the report
Mhm.
of what's actually required to be done and have that as one of the main pieces to be done for the site. And also, if I'm allowed to do that, then I would just propose that we have direct this piece here towards the north of the site, and this river here just east of the site, where it is the detention basin would have been in this section here.
Okay.
And you just go into that river. So it just go around, literally just around the site.
Okay. Just remind me again what you're doing with Rincon River.
Diabeting, that would be this major piece here, right?
No. Rincon River is
It's which one? Is that I thought this one was going to be this. bit.
Yes. Go by the main entrance to your site.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that should be the main river.
All right, this would have been diverted along the east of the site.
Okay. Maybe if you're putting calculations for that, then or however you're doing that, sure. But
Oh Jesus!
yeah. But just find out what you have to do with that. But your site selection, you should have avoided that as much as possible. But too late for that now. Just yeah. What else?
Regards to the site thing, I was trying my best to stay away from the mountains. In terms of like the amount of excavation that would have had to do, and also the massive change in flow that excavation would have done. So that's why I've tried my best to stay, because initially the site was more outwards, more towards this area here.
Yeah.
Right, but it's just a lot of mountains here, and we do have a planned recreational area on this side, which is still have some excavation for, as well as a recreation area as well as on this side, and then also still excavation for the two apartments up to the north of the site.
Okay.
Right. Next thing. Right. So I guess I'll try my best to see how I can get, if I may have some computer that will be powerful enough for me to render the full service.
I mean, probably, yeah,
or even if it, even in ArcGIS, I'm not sure.
yeah. If your computer getting problems with this, then that's a tough one to fix. I don't know if you could go to
I tried it last time. I tried it with both my laptop and the remote connection that we had at school, and
Mhm.
both of them were having issues. We were both struggling to process these stuff. My laptop took several hours just to actually produce the surface on the map, and same thing with the laptop, the remote connections with the desktop in school.
Okay. That sucks. Okay. Yeah, well, we have a little issue with the catchment there that I don't know how you're going to solve that if you can't get it to load. But even so, show me the minor catchments.
Right.
Again.
That was the next thing. That was can I take off the rivers and the roads?
Yeah, sure. There's an easy way to do that. You can escape it. Yeah, okay, well, we're doing it.
Not already here. Right. So this was another bit that was kind of confusing.
Mhm.
Right. I thought it would have been easier since the site layout is pretty simple, but it was just again, it was really confusing. So, before I get here, I could show you actually. Right. So, I remember I asked about the areas for potential development, for future development, in terms of put some dreams in the back of those, those spots, right? So, let me go to the CRPC how it's supposed to be. Right. So this is oh my goodness. This is design of what we actually have for the 500 occupants, the actual site, just that we have areas along here, here, and here that's earmarked for future development, right?
Okay.
So I included that in the definition of the subcatchments for these sites.
Okay.
Right. So this is what I came up with, and to note, I like to note that the that's this side of the site, this side of the site, sorry, is higher obviously than this side. So water will be flowing from west to east, right? Well, southwest to northeast, right? And also this side would be higher than this side of the site. So what I had proposed is that this point here and this point here, as well as this point here, along the alignments would be higher than the other aspects of the alignment, so that water would flow from here to here and flow from this side, come out. Same thing for here and here as well, so that all the water, this will be drained along this main collector would be the main drain.
Okay, sure, that's no problem.
Right. But yeah, so it's just I'm not sure if it is the placement of the catchments making any kind of sense. Because it was really, I'm not sure if it is these subcatchments, how I did them made any kind of sense. Because it's kind of a little bit confusing to do.
So that little middle piece in there, yeah, right there. What? Those blue lines are your subcatchments?
Yes.
Okay, and what is in between those blue lines? As in, what is there? What is supposed to be a building?
All right, so build this side and this side of houses, and this T area here is supposed to be a green space, basically.
Okay.
So what I had, I was thinking that you have the drain or grass swale behind the buildings.
Right.
So water will flow into those swales from the green space, and also here as well before it goes into the main drain. Well, into the drain into the street, then into the main drain. At least that was my reasoning behind this. Another thing I had made is the issue with regards to the subcatchments, especially in the area that we have earmarked for wastewater treatment facility and the detention pond. Is if I should just consider that one single catchment and have everything run into the detention pond, or straight to Abbotsford State not to deal with that part here. And also, because I had those two diverts river and outflow just north of the site, if it is, it would make more sense to just have the water on this particular catchment here. We have two apartment buildings just go into that river as opposed to going into the drainage system.
You worked out your elevations and so to ensure that you have those catchments draining to the right areas, right? Rather than to the right spots. Not the road one, but
yes,
the internal one.
The details of what the grading for the site itself.
Yeah, the grading for the site, yeah.
I have some calculations. No, I have the elevations I have is based on the elevations I have for the roads, and basically, at least how I hear it's on paper, at least it makes sense. It will flow how it's supposed to flow.
Okay.
Just
okay,
not with this site here. All right. Next question I had. Right. I see in the contract we have the drainage layouts and profile design for all main drains, showing elevations of inlets and outflow at the site. Right. Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that main drain, at least for my site, will just be this singular drain where everything's collecting. Which collects all the water and then carries that to the detention.
Yeah. It said only main drain, or is it all main drains?
For item 10 it says drainage layout and profile design for all main drains. So we do have to do the peak estimations for all the drains, but the drainage layout and profile design of all main drains, I wasn't sitting again all main drains, or if that, at least on my side, that main drain would be this straight in.
All right, let me just pull up that contract to confirm that. Let me see what it says.
Yeah, it's objective 10.
10. Okay, 1 second. All right, drainage layout of all main drains showing elevation. Right, no, so no, all main drains should be all the drains within the site, all like that's all the box drains and all the ditches, not the curb, I suppose. Yeah, so that is what that should mean. To me. Any big channels?
Right. Okay. Clarification. The last bit. For the drainage for the car park, that will just be mainly just the grading of the car park and where it is all the water will flow out.
Yeah. So exactly. So car park drainage, because it's a flat area, you want to make sure and have your elevations shown on your car park and your flow arrows as well to show where your car park is draining to, right? And then you'll have your drains at the edges of the car park to take up all your discharge. So zoom in on car park.
All right.
Car park, sir.
All right, this is the one
So where your drains?
I have to modify.
Right. So where are your drains?
Drains. the main drain would be, because of how it's I plan to have it graded, would be on this side. It's slightly sloped from southwest to northeast. So
Okay, well,
mostly what
that's
you
a
want to
big
collect in the stream.
area to have overland flow. So you might want to put a drain in the middle or somewhere else, or close to the middle, so that you break up that flow path. Because if you're draining from the bottom left end to the top right end, you might get too much water flowing across the surface of your car park. So that's just something to take into consideration.
Last question. Okay, no, I have two more questions. I know I have to modify this car park. This is the largest one, so this is the one I'll have to design. For the layout. My main concern was the turning in and maneuvers for because these spaces here are spaces for, I'm designing for the for a single truck, but it's just like a general services space for any large delivery truck, garbage truck to park up, right? And my main concern was basically turning onto, and as well as this corner here to exit. So I know they have it in areas for 16 meters, and I think that's a bit much, at least just for car park, especially when going extremely slow.
Sorry, what radius were you using?
16. Pretty
16?
16 meters, 16.
Oh, 16. Okay. But 16 is a bit large as well. Look back at the AASHTO chapter on intersections, and you would see something more appropriate. I think that you could design it for a car or a truck or a small truck in terms of that turn radius, that outside radius. Because you do expect 20 trucks to be in there, it should be fine if a truck every once in a while goes across into the next lane as it makes that turn.
All right. And well, in the email I sent, I had let you know that I kind of gave up on the whole roundabout situation because that was just it's confusing. So to just do a regular team section. I do know that you have to because I have a dedicated right turn channel from the North Coast Road onto the minor, and left turn pockets from the minor to the from the major again onto the minor. But I do know normally when you have these channels, you have like a little section with grid lines. I'm looking in the road markings book as well as the AASHTO book, and I'm not seeing anything in terms of the dimensions for that. How I supposed to count dimensions for that? How long that?
I'm not hearing you properly there. Could you just repeat what are you looking for?
All right. So the team section, I do have channels for the right turn from the minor from the North Coast Road onto the side, and left turn from again North Coast onto the side, right? Now that'll be the widening at the intersection itself.
Let me see it.
I haven't drawn it properly yet. I'm still fiddling it. Where is it? All right, so it's a little something I was doing here, right? So let's just say this is the intersection. It's the intersection right here. Okay.
Yeah. This
is going into the side. That you normally have like this little box. Oh my goodness. Great. Let's say I have a little box here that basically separates the let's say this is the eastbound lane. The eastbound lane from the westbound lane, and also prevents cars from basically intersecting the right turn pocket from on the major.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. This bit here. So I'm just looking there's the road markings and the signs book, I'm not seeing anything in regards to how I should be able to how long this bit's supposed to be, how wide it should be. I'm assuming just as wide as the lane here.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing anything in terms of how I'm supposed to design that bit. Or do you have any recommendations?
Okay, so what I want to do is to pan right. Yeah. Okay, so basically, what you want for that end. Okay, so the right-hand side, you're correct. It should be the width of the lane that you're trying to. That is on the opposite end of the junction that you're trying to prevent people from going towards from the opposite end. So all you have to do to end that is to make sure it has enough taper at the left-hand corner to get back into a proper two-lane. So basically, I don't know the length offhand of what you would need from the right-hand vertical line of the purple, which is your close to where your stop bar would be, I guess. Yeah, there. I don't know what length leftwards you need, but to get back into your two lanes, just check back the taper lengths. I think it's either 1 in 15 or 1 in 10 or something. So to get back into your two lanes.
Okay, so actually, it's basically it should be the same thing as the taper length to get from two lane into the pockets.
Into the turn lane, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I used 1 in 8. I think that
One in
was
how much?
a short 1 in 8. Or was
Okay,
it 5?
yeah.
So basically, use the same thing for the other side.
Yeah, just use the same thing for the other side, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the
Okay,
length of it, the length that it has to be the full width, shouldn't have to be too long, because it's cars that are heading westwards that I need to prevent coming into the next lane. So I don't think it matters too much, but you could just double check Ashto or something for that. Just check back the intersection guy. If you don't see anything on it, then just use your best judgment.
Okay, no problem. I think that is it. Oh, last question. So these were a little bit confusing to do because I actually did them initially and something changed, I'm assuming, because I had to fix a couple of my intersections and I think that changed everything. I had some of these that popped up, right? But these are basically, we haven't changed them, but these are the vertical alignments that I got from the road networks. And they're pretty, because of the area, a lot of filling and cutting. I'm not sure if it's too much.
Sorry, I'm not hearing that.
Because of the topography of the areas, a lot of fills, a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
Remember last class I was St. Jimmy, because she had I think it was like a 2-meter cut with fill, and it was a lot. And then I was like, okay, well if that's a lot, then I cannot cut too much because I have like one here. The max is like I have like one is like 1.5, yeah, 1.85 in fill, and then you have what 4 in cuts here. I'm not sure.
Okay. No, it depends on what you need to grade your side. Just make sure if you have to keep to the minimum slopes, then that should be fine. If you end up with those high cuts and fills, try putting in some more low points and high points. Try undulating the profile a little more if I think that will help in terms of achieving the minimum slope, but making sure that you don't rise too much in one side. But again, you have to change up your drainage for that. But so it's a kind of balance of what you need, whether you need to just focus on the drainage or try and work on your cut and fill.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for me.
Okay, sure. No problem.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll try to respond to email this weekend also. Anybody else?
Well, that email I sent, kind of a lot has changed. So I would be, is it okay for us, even though today's the last session, is it okay for us to still email you to ask more questions?
Yeah, sure, that's no problem. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Thanks so much.
Anyone else wants to go? Anyone else has any issues? Yeah, Jamie.
Oh yeah, hi, sir. My internet is kind of sticking, but I'll still try to share my screen.
Sure, no problem.
So for the cross section, is this how it's supposed to look under the sidewall?
Yeah, generally, yeah. What you would want to do is, could I control your screen? Could I control? Hold on. 1 second. I don't think I could hold on to your. I don't think I could control your screen.
I don't.
Oh yeah, I'll just have to point you in there. Okay, so right under the curb where you have that box screen, right? Yeah, so that point, move your cursor to the left. Yeah, that area right there. What you would normally do in construction is build that wall as one. So you won't have a separate curb wall to a box screen wall. So you'd want to remove that line between the walls of a box screen and actually put a vertical line up between the edge of the box screen and the front face of the curb. You understand? Hello? I think I lost you there. Yeah, shucks. Okay, well, until Jamie comes back. Yeah, Joshua. Yeah, go ahead.
Hear me? Hello? You can hear me or no?
Very softly.
All right, I'm just trying to raise it a little bit. Oh, any better?
Slightly. You can raise it up a little more.
1 second. Any better?
Yeah,
no?
this is better now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my issues still remain the same, kind of using the laptop or whatever. But my question I had for you was, in terms of my parking, I'm doing the grass pavers. So when I designing the let me say a section of the parking or designing the parking, I would design it like pavements and then just put the grass pavers on top. Or there's a whole separate design for parking with grass pavers?
There's usually a separate design for grass pavers. That would actually be to the manufacturer specs, because you need a certain amount of you need a certain gravel layer beneath the grass pavers for it to actually drain to your subgrade or so. But did you ask your supervisor about using grass pavers? Because I know you would actually have to design a pavement. I assume they meant a flexible pavement or concrete pavement. And if you're using grass pavers, that's something that is already designed already. So I might just want to check that with the supervisor. Well, you might just want to check that with the supervisor. Make sure you're not doing the wrong thing.
Okay, because I know well in the design that I saw I was looking at, they have the grass pavers and then they have a bedding layer, and then there's I guess a coarse aggregate beneath the pavers, and then there's the sub-base and sub-base stabilization, and then a subgrade. So it's kind of almost similar to pavement design, but then there's just thin layers of extra stuff that they use, I guess, to draining, just kind of separate the two layers or drain from one layer to another layer. So
So sorry, what?
No, I was just thinking that if is similar, I mean, in terms of the pavement design, because if you design the pavements, you would go through steps in order to find out how much layers, how much each layer. I was saying that I would have probably utilized the pavement design, but just I guess change the variables, if you want to call it that.
No, I understand what you're saying. So you want to design it with your concrete pavers as your surface layer and still have your sub-base and base course. I understand, but your concrete pavers have a different strength to what a regular concrete pavement would have, a concrete slab or a bituminous slab. So unless you could find out the strength of those concrete pavers and how they interfere with the other layers, then it might be a bit complicated for you to do right now. Also, with your grass pavers, remember, they allow infiltration of the surface water. So you're going to have a lot of soaking of your sub-base and base layers. So it may not be that economical or practical to use that design, a conventional design. So that's why with your grass pavers, you normally have a sand layer, a small sand layer as a filter layer, as you said, and then a layer of gravel or coarse material that will actually hold the infiltrated water, the groundwater, before it seeps out into the subgrade. So it is a bit of a different process. Understand what you're trying to do, but talk to the supervisor about that, because it might be complicated if you don't have the correct values for your design of that.
Okay, yeah, I would ask her about it, see what she says.
But that seems a little more complicated than your regular pavement design, your regular asphalt or concrete design, though. You sure you might want to do that still?
Well, yeah, that's what I was now thinking there, because I say if it's more complicated, then it's just best to leave it out and then just design the asphalt or concrete design to substitute it, because those are I just say a whole lot easier to design than those to begin with.
Yeah, but if you want to do it, talk to the supervisor first to make sure that you could do it, that you're allowed to do it. Because I don't want to. Grass pavers are a nice concept. Said that before. Of course, the maintenance is the issue, but just make sure for your project whether you're allowed to do it.
Okay, no problem. Another question. Not so much a question. So
Sorry, Joshua, hold on. Jamie, I saw you come back, but we're just going through with Joshua until I come back to you, okay?
Yeah, okay. No problem.
So I use the green book to design the intersections and stuff like that. But then when in my initial design, I realized that it wouldn't have worked because of the spacing. Because I have like 2 rows side by side, and then I will eventually show you when I have access to the laptop again. But it's basically a T junction and then a 4 crossing, like almost not directly next to each other, but there's 2 roads and then one form of T and then one form of 4 crossing. So then I tell myself I have to increase the distance between the 2 roads in order to properly account for the turning points in the both intersections. So I'll fix that well, I kind of doing it on paper first and then transferring it to the civil.
Okay. So one of the things one of the things that you mentioned is you have to make sure your intersections are appropriately spaced, right? But one of the things you could do, instead of having two junctions close together like that, why the T junction, the road that comes towards the major road, that creating a junction, why don't you put that to join your other intersection, one of the minor roads? Would you be able to do that?
Just explain that for me. So instead of having the T close to the,
I think there's a way you could draw on.
I think it's a whiteboard function. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. You seen it?
I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, so you have that road there. Assuming you have a T junction like this, right?
Yeah.
And then you have an X junction like that.
Oh no. So where you have the T,
yeah,
it would have I guess above the T, on the same connection as the T, there's a four crossing or next to it, above it. Yeah. So is it
that?
Yeah.
Okay, and how long is this road? Is it a long road or so?
Yeah, so there are two long roads, but then so there are two long roads. But I said that I would have probably moved the T further down so that it wouldn't
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, well, it's basically the same thing, just flipped. But how come you have two parallel roads then? This road and this road?
Yeah, well, actually, because I had changed the design to, because I had a funny, I would say a Y junction. So I wanted to kind of get away from having to design the Y junction. So then I made them two parallel. I made them, kind of made it a T junction instead of a Y junction. So it kind of opened the space that I was using. But then I realized that the two parallel roads would have come almost perpendicular. I mean, the two roads would come parallel to each other. So I said I would have made the gap between the two roads bigger to account for the the intersection the turnings and whatnot, so that it doesn't so it doesn't mess me up in a sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, well that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So then actually my problem is similar to Cortland's in terms of the surface size, but remember how he had his, because the initial program that I was using couldn't run the big surface, so I had the similar cut to the similar spacing as Cortland in terms of his surface size. But then you were mentioning to him that he needed to, his catchment area wouldn't have been that area.
Yeah, because you have those rivers coming out of your site, that will flow in from, if you know Trinidad, from the northern range towards the sea. That entire area is your catchment. Wherever the river comes out from, wherever it starts, your catchment starts around that area, and then it comes out towards the sea. So it's a much larger area than what he was showing. So he may run into some problems with that.
Okay, because if I can remember, I have all the rivers and stuff like that. So then you say it's best to so then increase. So instead of limiting yourself to the small area, open it up to the full size of the catchment, and then work with that.
Yeah, because if you're trying to work out your flows within your rivers or so, you need to have your proper catchment size. Otherwise, you'll underestimate your flows.
Gotcha. Well, my site isn't by the Lincoln River. Is so actually the river is adjacent to the Lincoln River.
Right. Okay. So smaller rivers. That's good.
Yeah. So those actually running through a bit of my roads and probably one or two buildings. But what I was gonna do for the I guess we call it tributaries, where the join, I was gonna put kind of like a water, not like a water park, but a small like design so that I wouldn't interfere with it in terms of construction. I would just leave it like a natural habitat where you have like trees and ponds, or maybe a pond or something, to just kind of not have it utilizing my site. And then for the areas that I can avoid, I was gonna put, I don't know, applicable bridges are in terms of.
Yeah, that's fine if you want to leave it natural. That's fine. And as you say, a water feature. It could be a kind of park as well. That's cool. That's no problem.
Okay, and then in terms of where the rivers cut the roads, where my potential roads would be, it would it would raise the road, or it would just put a bridge.
It depends on what. I mean, this is a whole different topic altogether. But basically, all you need to do at your level is just make sure the structure that you're proposing could accommodate within your road profile. So, say you have a. Hold on, let me get back onto the. Hold on 1 second.
No problem.
Right. Okay. Where am I? Yes. Let me go back onto the screen. Right. Right. So let me draw this. Okay. So this is your plan view. So you have a road here, and if I call a river, and your road is this, right?
Yeah.
So that's your plan. So now you want a section, or maybe say a profile of your road. Where's the stupid thing? Right. Right, so you have your road profile. No. Sorry, hold on. Right. Okay, yes. Let's say your road profile is that. So your river channel. So let's say your existing ground is something like that, and your river channel is like that. Yeah, making sense so far? Colin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now you need to do a structure, right? Let's just say it's a box culvert or pipe culvert. Sorry. Is there a way to erase, boy? Without clearing everything. Okay, let me draw back that shape. Right. Okay. Good. So your crossing is now that black culvert, that black rectangular shape, right? If your road profile doesn't need to change to accommodate that structure, and that structure could accommodate the entire flow that you calculate for that channel, then that's fine. But let's say, for example, this shape thing is not. Say, for example, you needed that. Let's go back to your existing ground. And you actually need to raise whatever reason your design road profile was something like this. You had a cutting on this side, but because you need a taller area and you can't get this wider, you can't get it boxed up with wider, so you need actual taller area. What you need to do is make sure your road profile could go up and then over, basically. So yeah, it really depends on the size of your structure you're using. Obviously, the wider the structure, the better, but it depends on the space you have for the width of the channel and the structure.
Okay. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that is it for me for now.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Sure. And then you keep sending any things you have later on.
Yeah, no problem.
Right. Jamie, is Jamie there? No, she's not there. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, that one. Go ahead. Hi. Just give it a little while. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. Make sure and have your stop lines. Yeah, that'll be important, yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, just say that again. Your nose width for what? Your median? Sorry, I'm not understanding. You could just sketch it out there for a second. Let me just see what you're talking about. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, yeah, but that's simply a tuning radius. It depends on what speed you're looking for. If you want to have a full 50 kph, um, that collector road, that Orange Grove road going at 50 kph, you want to ensure that people coming off Orange Grove road at 50 kph, then you have to design that as a 50 kph radius. But if you expect people to slow down and to stop or to stop, then you could put in a tighter radius if you need to. The only thing you would have to check is the outside radius for your trucks and so, as in like all your intersections. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Try to make it as practical as possible. So if you go up on Google Earth, instead of Google Maps, you could actually try to measure off the distances and see most of those lanes for the highway are 3.6. The median should be about 2 meters or so. So you could use that as a standard. Yeah. No, no, it's 3.6. 3.65, yeah. But you could use 3.6 generally. If you look back at your AASHTO, your freeway or arterials, you would see the recommended road widths for your type of roads. And usually it doesn't go more than 3.6. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on the size of it. Yeah, that could be a big run for having overland flow, because you really want to control that, because you don't. The one thing I hate when you go in car parks or other flat areas is you have to be walking through puddles of water, especially when it's raining, to get to your cars. So you really want to limit the amount of flow you have. So maybe a middle drain could work out better also. Yeah, if you want it. Yeah, so just again with Cortland, it just depends on how much flow you have going in towards your drains at the outer ends and what distance.